Open your mind. The prophet of thought. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. The prophet of thought. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. The prophet of thought. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. The prophet of thought.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series, right here on the old T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Now, y'all know tonight is the night that we do our Hours of Power. And of course, I'm bringing y'all three very interesting guests like I do every week. Tonight, we're going to have my man, Brother Art. Also, we're going to have Brother NAGONE and Mr. Research going to be our headliner tonight. So it's going to be a good night, y'all. Three interesting brothers, you know, like I always do. Always bring y'all three interesting brothers. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. But before we get started, as always, I like to thank my donors, my generous contributors, because like I always say, you know, you don't have to spend your hard-earned coins on this platform, but you choose to do so, and it is greatly appreciated. Those of you who donated last week, know who you are. Because like I always say every week, I know y'all get tired of hearing me say it, but I have to say it. I sit down and I write you a personal email thanking you for your generous contributions. And I'm humbled and honored that you actually see value in this platform. I mean, I can't say that enough. When I started off with this, I mean, I was doing this when I wasn't getting any money. I like doing it. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy bringing you content that you like to watch. So once again, I want to thank you for contributing to T.P.O.T. I am humbled and honored, and I thank you. So let's get on with it. Like I said, the first guest on the old
Hours of power, 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 hours of power.
my man Art. What's good, brother Art?
What's going on, Big Prophet?
Hey man, same old, same old. Full disclosure, you know, me and Art, we're not just now meeting. This is my man right here. I mean, and I can't plug this enough because I'm really honored that the brother picked me. I will be starring, or my voice will be starring in Brother Art's. He has an animated series because his name is Art, and he's also an artist. He's gonna be he's got an animated series that he created, and he has recruited none other than old X himself to play one of the characters. So y'all will hear me in Art's animated series. I'm not gonna give it away just yet, but you know, as always, you know, I gotta plug it because I mean, I'm really humbled and honored that the brother chose me to play the character. So be looking out for that soon, y'all. But anyway, brother Art, my man. Why don't we start off with telling the folks who you are and you know what's your mission here on YouTube?
Well, can y'all hear me pretty good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm doing a headset here, so I won't sound like I'm in a tunnel. Well, pretty much, I wanted to be able to contribute positive aspects of as many situations as possible in the community. So I guess the part that I wanted to offer would be the, from the educator standpoint, things that's not really emphasized enough. And so I definitely want to put that whole thing out there to where all kinds of possibilities you could be able to accomplish, you should be able to do it. There should not be any kind of like impossibilities. I would just say that. So because a lot of people that I keep hearing, and it's not just Black YouTube, but it's just in life, a lot of people keep thinking that too many things are impossible to do when it's pretty much don't take rocket science to do. So I just want to be able to add some kind of positivity. And, when I mean by positivity, just stuff that's possible to do, things that you really, things that you would say, hey, man, this is not going to be possible. And then I'm like, okay, but let me show you then. So I really want to put that element in Black YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if y'all are noticing this, but my man, brother Art, is actually sketching while he's on the Hangout. So if y'all are wondering what he's doing, he's actually just sketching because, like I said, he's an artist. So he's actually going to be sketching while he's being interviewed. So what got you into art per se? What got you into the arts, brother?
Cartoons, the Super Friends, Space Ghost, Herculoids. Some people are too young to even know about those. But those are the things I looked at that, and it kind of really challenged and captured my imagination. So when I saw that, I just kept saying, I want to do that myself. I want to be able to create those things. And believe it or not, I did. I made little small books. But yeah, I really wanted to get into the arts. My father is pretty much like an unofficial artist too. So he was giving me a lot of like verbal pointers on how to um how to think out the things that you want to create. So I took those into consideration. Um but yeah, oh, and the last but not least, I'm sorry, but one of the main things that got me going was JJ from Good Times. Yeah, when I started looking at JJ, this dude kind of an ugly brother. I said if he can get Boom Boom Belinda and all the other chicks, then I could do something with this art. So for those who don't know, Ernie Barnes was the artist for Good Times. And so all those things in combined pretty much gave me an idea of what I wanted to do. And what was so funny, some people tried to discourage me because basically that's unheard of in the black community. But for some reason, something in me just said, I'm going to do it anyway. So go ahead, brother.
So, do you believe that? Do you believe that is there not enough artists in Black society? Should there be more artists? You know, people who can draw and sketch and paint and
Well, I would say that artist runs the world. And they're like, huh? Because almost put it this way, if you can write your name, you're an artist, especially if I can read it. Lots of logos around that let you know where to eat. That's art. A lot of people are into these different sports logos and designs, card, card designs, all these kind of things. You have to know your way around the arts. So the problem is not enough of us really pushing the talents that you have because of the peer pressure. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that most people need to start uh, checking in to find out what kind of talents they have in it and don't ignore it because those are some of the things that people uh, possess in them. And I just sit there and, like my class, I pretty much, oh, because I'm an art educator, sorry to mention that. But my class is based on you learning everything there is to learn that you thought that was impossible. But the thing is, once you know how to do this stuff, what's next? I answered the question pretty good.
Absolutely. See, I'm trying not to get distracted because, see, like everybody else, I'm sitting up here watching you sketch too. I'm trying not to get too distracted because I'm just sitting up here watching you sketch. But now, you, not to give too much of it away, but you created this animated series, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to do that? What made you want to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put my art into motion. I'm gonna, make this series out of it. What made you want to do that?
I was very big on the old Lord of the Rings, the cartoon Lord of the Rings back in, I think it was the 70s or 80s. And I do like those mystifying, mystic type cartoons with the deep voice, like come, those kind of things. I'm really into those mysterious type things. So I want I I don't know. It was half of it was based on some music. There's a song called Children of the Sun by Mandrill. If you listen to that, it kind of gives you an idea on what direction is going. But that one in particular is supposed to make you really think about people that died of an unjust death. And I want to do it in a cartoon. And mainly, I wanted to be able to have it to where when you're when you're in the underworld, you're going to be giving another chance to restore order, or even to get back what's taken from you. So it's pretty much a war between the natural world and the underworld. And the natural world would be like with people that are considered the courts and kings and queens. But this king had happened to he happened to have some of the favors of the wizards and the sorcerers. So they gave him a lot of power in order for them to make sure that he goes down to the underworld and make sure these guys don't come back and take what he has. So I'm building more on the story though, but that's pretty much the main basis is that this one guy is supposed to find out who he really was, because once you're down in that underworld, you still have to discover, did you know who you were before you died? Matter of fact, that's going to be your part.
Okay.
You're going to be the one asking the people that comes down below, did you know who you were before you died?
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I am. I was checking out the character today. You know, my wife, she probably tired of seeing it. I was like, I'm gonna be in. I'm gonna be in this cartoon, right? She's like, yeah, X, you told me that like 700 times already. I was like, oh, I'm just checking, make sure you know that I'm gonna be in this cartoon.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you about art. To be an artist is being an artist often natural, or can art skills actually be taught? Do you have to already have some raw talent, and then someone can, like yourself, like an educator like yourself, then you can take that raw talent and shape it? Or is it something that a person just can't draw, he can't paint, he can't do anything, but he can be taught to be an artist? How does that work?
Well, what I can say is that everybody, I mean everybody. See, I'm the one that definitely would leave. I would have no limits to your possibilities. Everyone can learn the skill. The skill is the one that everybody can learn. Hell, most damn near everybody can walk, right? But it's just a point to where how would you be able to put your creativity in it? That's the part what you're born. That's what you're born with as far as individuals. When you're able to put together things that are creative, like for example, I put it with basketball. Let's see. Um, who's fundamental? Okay, we got Tim Duncan. He'd probably be a good coach. I mean, they call him Mr. Fundamentals and so on. But then you have Kobe. You can't teach Kobe. I mean, you can't teach the Kobe style. There's no such thing as a Kobe. Well, let me teach you how to be like Kobe. No, that's the stuff that he was born with. He learned the fundamentals, I guess, from his high school and I guess field. But later on, he had to put his own essence in it, and that's how he's able to shine, because basically that was the thing that got him over the edge. That's why, if people are individually known in their respective fields, especially in entertainment and sports, is because most of the time, even though the powers that be try to defy this, but most of the time, whatever you are blessed with, that's what's going to bring you up and make you shine. Your greatness is what's going to take you this far and that far, but you got to tap into it and make sure you can define what it is.
Wow. So when you're I'm pretty sure that when you're teaching, because who do you teach? Do you teach adults? Do you teach teenagers, young children? Like who? I mean, who are your students, or do you teach everybody?
I teach all, well, teach all. I teach college, and the oldest I had in the college, I think she was 71. And then as far as I go all the way from elementary even. I can teach elementary. I prefer not, but I'm able to have the capacity to take them from one point to the next. But
So who do you enjoy teaching the most? I mean, who's the most, who's the most pliable, far as teaching them the craft and teaching them art and teaching them have an eye for art? What's the best age to be, kind of coming in it?
I think me personally, I think I got used to teaching high school more because I feel more responsible that they're going to see me before they go out into the world. And it's very important that I give them all the tools that they need in order to compete. And I'm talking about just even life. Some things I would have to teach them that that the other teachers haven't. So sometimes I have to, I created my own lesson, to be honest. So the stuff that I found that was necessary, I enhanced it and made it much more possible for them. So people still don't, they still can't believe that, we get these kind of results in a inner city, but you just gotta like kids. You gotta like the teenagers, you gotta respect them. You gotta look for that growth. If you don't have that kind of patience, then you shouldn't be in the classroom. But yeah, high school is the one. Adults, it's funny, man. The adults, they're almost just as immature as the children. It's almost the old dog new trick thing. You got to damn near tell them like, hey man, if you don't turn in your word, you're not going to get a good grade. You telling this to somebody older than you. Think about that.
We got to tell them to turn in their work.
And I'm feeling bad. I'm like, how do I tell this person? That could be my parent.
Yeah, right.
So some of these things I have to really watch and just observe and learn. But it's all fun because I'm able to, it's my niche because I didn't want to teach at first. I want to be an animator. You know, I did that for a minute, but the problem, with like for Disney, for example, that you get in and you're in the lower what do you call it, the lower level. But for example, Lion King, if they if you're doing okay in Lion King, then what's going to happen? They may call you back after 6 months. That's how they pay you. They pay you based on a project. So what if they didn't call you in that 6 months and you have to pay your bills? That kind of thing had me really thinking. I'm like, nah, I'm not. I like Disney and everything, but I just can't do this. So plus you, plus there's a lot of ass kissing that you have to do, and that's probably almost a lot of entertainment industries. I'm just not cut out for that. Some people are, but no, if it ain't funny, I'm not going. I don't know if my laugh will be convincing if it's not funny. I might get like a chuckle, ha ha, chuckle, chuckle, but they can see through me.
So did you ever find yourself spending time as like a starving artist? You weren't an artist, but you had to freaking work at Starbucks until the big contract hit.
Yes, I will definitely break that stereotype for artists because a lot of people think that, and usually people they barely read the credits when they're doing when they're at the movies. There's a lot of art positions in those credits. So it's kind of highly unlikely for those guys in the credits to be starving, especially like Star Wars. I mean, even like comedy movies, things like that. They need a storyboard artist. They need a designer. They need, what do you call it? I think it's called a story reel. They need all those different things. So the part that kept me from starving is getting my degree. Okay. So that's the thing where that's when I start beating the drum, because when I went to art school or art college, I was the only chocolate chip in a cookie.
Mm.
And that school was hard to get in. But at the same time, I'm looking at everybody else saying I'm better than these people. And at the same time, I'm like, how come other people like me are not here that I know that's hella talented? So I'm not just trying to convince people that you need to go to college because, I'm trying to be right. I'm like, how come all these people are here and you're not? Because I'm not going to buy into that narrative that they're better than our people, you know. But yeah, that's how I pretty much have it though.
Well, let me ask you this: What do you think? What do you think stops us from getting into the arts? No matter what art it is. What do you think? What do you think is the biggest barrier for 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 us black folks to get into the arts and become an artist, or someone who could possibly work those jobs that run up and down the movie credits? What do you think stops us?
Education. Sometimes you got to be educated to be educated, brother.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, sometimes hell is one thing to read the ingredients on the back of your box before you eat it, but hell, you got to learn how to read.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
a lot of our people already have this ideal. See, that's the thing. That's the okay. I love my people, but you got to throw some constructive criticism also. And the criticism that I have is that people are always waiting for people to tell them what is and what isn't instead of doing the research for themselves. Or if you don't like what you're hearing, look it up and bring it to the table of your discrepancies. I mean, that's the part that really bugs me because we are great people, but we're losing out a lot of opportunities because you just want to be right. Or you just don't feel like doing the work or whatever necessary work it is. You make excuses. It ain't for me, or what's the other? It's the other one is I mean, as far as the white man holding me down, I'm behind that. The white man is holding us down, so I'm not gonna shoot that down. I don't know why people keep cutting that off. It's just how you break down the white man, bring you down. But at the same time, I would just say the damage that the white man left behind is bringing us down anything else. So it's more of a spell, you know, because last time I checked, a lot of these Asians, not to say that they're better than us or we shouldn't be like them, but for some reason, why are they getting all the opportunities? They don't even need this white man. They don't even vote, but they're getting all opportunities. As a matter of fact, they're doing the stuff that our our folks used to do, because some of them, they like they're like, for example, the grandparents, they don't have an education or whatever, but they take one for the team and make sure that their children are getting a quality education. Then the children don't forget, they don't even forget where they got their education and take care of the parent. We used to do that. I don't know what happened. I don't know why we lost that. But that was ours, man. That's why I'm saying that I'm not going to make everybody else look like they're better than us. I just think that they took our ball and ran with it. We just got to grab that ball back and keep it running, keep it pushing. It's not rocket science either, you know. I mean, imagine when I go in their circles, when they see me, imagine that.
Yeah, well, often what happens is, we often speak about how, white society, has got his foot on our neck, and, the white supremacy boogeyman that we always talk about. And, I look at a brother like you, obviously a talented artist, an educated man, has his degree. I mean, you're sitting up here right now sketching while you're talking like it ain't nothing. So a brother look at you and be like, hey, maybe the white supremacy boogeyman ain't as scary as I thought. I mean, look at other art. So, I mean, what would you say to that? I mean, because obviously, the white man couldn't stop you from becoming who you are. So what would you say to someone who says that to you?
Well, the people that get in the position I get in, they don't really tell you all the story that they had to go through in order to get to these positions. There is a lot of racism and a lot of biasness. Now we got to deal with feminism too. But it's a lot of that stuff really still pushing back for our success, or pushing us, pushing the success away from us. There's always some kind of excuse why a black man shouldn't make it. The reason why I got this far is because I was able to listen to people older than me, um, that was able to let me know what they went through and how to overcome it. Because if you keep denying, see that, I mean, the part that I understand for a lot of brothers when they say, why you keep talking about racism? Yeah, because if you talk about it enough, it never go away, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't keep your eyes open. It doesn't mean that you have to, ignore things. Because basically, last time I checked, they're trying to take history out of history. I mean, they're trying to take slavery out of history books in Texas.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Because
Yeah.
obviously they want you not to talk about the racist past or things that they've done to us. So how does that look that we have a lot of brothers beating the drum about you shouldn't talk about racism, but on the other hand, you got pretty much a corrupted educational system trying to do the same thing. I mean, the thing is that, like, the Jews always try to do this whole never again type stuff. That makes sense. Screw me, was it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So my whole thing is just to make sure that you keep your eyes open. Don't get caught by the okie doke, because sometimes it's just like the rainbow. The rainbow was supposed to be a system for the chakras, and later on it was a good thing for children. Now look at it. Who's gonna wear a rainbow now? I
unless
ain't.
unless you live in the life, that's the only
Brother.
way.
Brother, I couldn't even hold a bag of Skittles.
Well, let me ask you about racism as an artist. Did you find coming up as a young black artist, were you often did you have to prove yourself? Did they look at you and say, oh, here's some black guy, he can't be that good of an artist because he's black? Did you run into a lot of that coming up as a young artist?
I think I got it to where they didn't like the fact that I do what I do as a black man. They would say, why don't you just take a picture? It looks too real. That blew me away when I used to hear that. I'm like, huh? You know, there's a gentleman that's been in, he's still around. He broke it down to me because he went to UCLA and stuff like that. He told me that he found when he got in the educational sector, he saw how a lot of white teachers were trying to talk people out of their natural talents. Like, man, just stop making your stuff so real. Once you go into some abstract and once you splatter some paint on the canvas, just be more courageous and explore your inner artist and that those kind of stupid things, right? But later on, they were going to like Hawaii and different places trying to learn how to draw realistic. And that's
So
so go ahead.
so were they what they were too good? That's what they were telling him, that they were
Yeah.
too good of an artist?
Well, the thing is, even though they try to say that we the ones that started bad is good and good is bad, no, they tried to get us to believe that what we were doing were bad and what they were doing were good. So when you were dealing with abstract, now don't get me wrong, I'm not downing abstract because some people are like, why are you talking about abstract so bad? No, it's just the way that how it was done and how it was thrown on people, because you got so many different parts of abstract. But there are some aspects of abstract that's unnecessary. But yet, just because you have a good gift of gab, so to speak, or some kind of way to explain why this was on the left side and why this was blue and all that, that's where it made people look more relevant, because they can talk like that. So when you're able to get in that world and try to justify your work instead of letting your work speak for itself, that's when people start getting hired more. So that's the part where we lost out on, where you know, you put your work on a wall and they say, how'd you do that? And you know, you talented, but you can't explain your work. You say, well, I just did this and that and there, and then there you go. And they go, oh, okay, interesting. But someone else that barely put a shoe print on a canvas and some droppings and all kinds of things on there, they're like, how did you do this? You know, what is your process? Well, I went through oppression and you know, I mean, I went through all kinds of struggles in my life, and I just started to put some blue, and it represents this. So it became representational. It became, you know, what do you call it, a narrative or whatever, where the other person with all the talent in the arts, since he didn't have the, what do you call it, he didn't have the whole vernacular or the vocabulary, he just lost out.
So do you believe that there's a lot of unmined talent out there in Black society? Because, you know, you see people out there, you know, where they tag walls and they spray paint, and, you know, the stuff is really, really nice. Would you consider those brothers artists?
Yes and no.
Explain, brother Art, explain.
Man, I had some you know, some people, some taggers in my room, and I have a specific way on certain methods on what I teach. And brother, would you believe the methods that I taught, they did that on the walls. So yeah, that's the bona fide part of letting you know there are some legitimate artists out there. But man, there's just some people just said, F the world, let me just throw something on the wall. So I mean, I could see the line quality, I could see the whole way of how they approach certain things, even the fact that you crossing out somebody's name because you're trying to diss their hood. You know, you got to look at sometimes the way the line is, you know, the way the structure is. Does Malcolm have a head like that? Yeah. So the way the structure is, so when you're, you know, when you're looking at it as an art instructor, you have to look at the psychological part of it and the craft and the uh creativity. Because some people that's tagging don't need to be tagging, they just doing it just to belong. And some people are really warning somebody that is hot over here, don't come over here. So I look at that in different aspects. But as far as people like tagging on walls, things like that, for the most part, it's just a lot of anger and things that they're trying to just put out there. And you have to, you know, if I mean, for those people that work in the streets, I mean, they know their streets, they know their areas, they know how to read it, and if they see something going on, they know how to look at the walls and figure out that, hey, this is not going to go down on my watch. I'm gonna squash this beef and make sure nobody gets shot. So, but no, what I try to do though is try to look at the way that the work is being done. And then, believe it or not, I did get a few people in my class when I was like, because they thought they were going to be in trouble. I said, who did this tagging over here? Everybody was like, quiet, right? And I said, and I had to explain. I said, well, I tell you what, I need whoever this is, I need him to see me so I can get him in my class because I think he can do more than just this. It was one of the guy, they call him Presto. They wind up showing up, and his dad, you know, was like, he looked at me like I was Jesus because he's like, he finally got him in doing something, but he couldn't stay out of fights. But at the same time, he joined the military. So I'm up here rambling. Sorry about that, brother.
No, this is an interview. Go for yours. Say whatever you got to say. So, well, let me ask you about digital art and graphic art and computer art. Do you feel like that's somewhat cheating compared to what you do? Because, you know, you sketch and you paint and you draw. Do you think that graphic art has made it easier for people to be artists?
I think it's cheating when it's already done. Like the actual graphics and shapes are already done, you know, to the point to where I mean, arranging it, that's more of a director standpoint. But when you're actually making the shapes itself and putting them together and making sense of it, and that's when I say, okay, that's more artistic. But me personally, like stuff that I think I don't know if they still say clip art, but that was a thing. I got kind of, I said, well, if people like clip art so much, I just started teaching students how to make their own clip art from scratch. So either you're going to, um, hand draw it and scan it and color it in, or you can even use a mouse to make shapes. So I don't, like I said, if the stuff is already done, then I'm not really feeling it. I'm like, no, that would be some other category. It's probably something else, but I wouldn't say it's completely art. I would just say it's creative. I put this together.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here and I'm watching you draw this picture, man, like, and you're just doing it effortlessly as you're speaking, which I think is quite outstanding, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
Now, you're on YouTube, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, I see you, you're on my channel. I see you on other brothers' channels. Do you think that YouTube is an art form? Not the stuff we put behind us or whatever graphics we have going on. Do you think that YouTube itself is a form of artistic expression?
Yeah, from different aspects because you're looking at marketing, you're looking at theatrics, how you can sell it. You're looking at, I mean, they call people content creators, right? So you're looking at all these different things that make people want to either be a part of it or want to support it or whatever it is. A lot of us have our different takes on different things and different people and how they do things, but I really do see that as an art form. But I really, really caution all the black YouTubers and black YouTuber listeners. You got to start really trying to find another vehicle to put this stuff out there because we only gonna have this so long.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, we got to start meeting people in person, making sure that that avatar is a real person. Because I'm telling you, I know we come from the same background, and during the conscious period of the 90s and
Hmm.
the 80s, you got a lot out of seminars and things because we wasn't just going to speeches, we were going to workshops. We were actually getting certified on how to do appraisals and how to start your own business plan. We were getting that, and we were getting conscious stuff at the same time. YouTube is good for that, but eventually you're going to have to go in another direction.
Yeah. I mean, I tout the Black Avenger, because I have some of my stuff on there. I actually need to put some more of it on there. The Black Avenger it's like YouTube. I mean, for the most part. I mean, it has that YouTube thing about it. And it's owned and operated by a brother, which is good because, like you said, this YouTube shit, man. It's I see it as they're going to pick and choose the black folks they're going to let be on it, or should I say, the black folks material. And they're going to try to chop down the money that you can make on it as well. I see that coming as well. That won't hurt me. That won't hurt me because YouTube is something I just kind of do because I enjoy doing it. It's not my bread and butter, but you have a lot of people who YouTube is their job and they rely on this income. This is their paycheck. So I mean, like you said, there's going to be there has to be some type of change or some type of avenue for brothers to go to, because pretty soon YouTube is gonna, I feel like they're gonna clinch down on this shit. I mean, they're already doing it. I mean, they're already doing it. They already striking your videos and stopping you from monetizing. I know because they do it to me, and my videos ain't even like off the ship as most people's, and they do it to me. They stop me from monetizing some of my shit. And I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, damn, won't let me monetize this. They won't let me monetize videos where I'm talking to women who their sons were killed by the police. I mean, they won't let me they won't let me monetize it. So, they are very it's crazy, man. It's just very, very crazy. And like you said, we're gonna have to find another spot to drop our material.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing that I'm waiting for. And let's keep it 100, brother. There's a lot of introverts on YouTube. There's a lot of people that they don't get along with anyone. That's why they get along with saying, I mean, that's why they get away with saying certain things on YouTube. And so it's easy to do things behind the computer. So that's one thing I would really push, like to really keep in mind, because I really think that some people may be listening to me to really start meeting people in a, what do you call it? Meeting people in a, like, like a setting, even though what's her name? Zaza Ali, she had the right ideal. It just that the execution just was, well, you know the story. But
Yeah.
what if it was successful? That's what we're supposed to be going. That's the direction we're supposed to going into. So I would try to tell people, don't be discouraged because of that event, because there's other people doing events similar that's getting nice results, because we want to be able to meet people, do different things. I mean, there's certain people that might be showing you how to, on a gun range, or certain people that'll show you how to teach. I mean, draw.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it seems like, brother Art, that and I talked about this with my man Q Butter a couple weeks ago, that many of us, I'm not going to say all of us, but many of us, we're not really interested in that. We don't really want to watch, someone teach us how to do something or teach us a skill. Many of us, we're more we're satisfied with watching people beef back and forth, name call, criticize, roast. That's what we're kind of interested in. And like you said, many of us on here are introverts, because I believe a lot of the people, and I'm not just talking about, the people who watch the content. I believe many of the content creators very rarely leave the house. Um, they don't do too much. All right. You'll be hard pressed. You'll be hard pressed to catch them at a store because they order everything off of eBay, Amazon, Grubhub, and Postmates. Yeah, I mean, I
Yes,
don't think
sir.
that that's a stretch at all. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think that's a stretch at all. That a lot of people that are on YouTube, I mean, YouTube is their life. This is their life. And see me, I mean, not to brag, but I'm a blue collar brother. I mean, YouTube doesn't pay my bills. So I mean, if I tried to stay on here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'd be sleeping in the goddamn woods, because I wouldn't be able to afford to do shit. I'd lose everything: house, cars, business, all that would be down the toilet if I spent all this time on freaking YouTube. Um, I think that many of us, YouTube is our connection to life, and it has given people life. It has given people a personality. That's what I believe. I believe YouTube has given people a personality where they can actually feel like someone, because they didn't feel like anything before, and now they have this, and they feel like someone. I think that that's many of us. How many, I don't know, but I think it's many of us.
Yeah. And on that note, I would definitely warn those people that have that description. You better find you another gig, and before this stuff run out. Because if you getting this whole stardom and momentum based on, you know, doing things that you kind of can get away with because you're behind the screen, when that stuff dry up and YouTube is over, man, I don't know where you're gonna go.
Yeah, because your damn money gonna dry up. You know, I mean, if they shut YouTube down, I say this a lot. You know, I say shit. If they launched a missile into YouTube headquarters tonight, that shit wouldn't affect my bottom line one bit. I mean, it just wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to be on YouTube and watch it, but it wouldn't affect my bottom. Wouldn't affect my bottom line at all. I mean, I wouldn't lose anything. I'd lose a few dollars from donations, but I mean, I wouldn't lose anything else because they blew up YouTube.
That's what I would say too, man, is that um eventually, you know, when you're stuck, how can I say this? Um you know, for those people that are Google scientists and Google maniacs, Google is not your source of information. Some people even go Google and try to challenge people what they see on Google.
Yeah.
Where'd you find that? I got it on Google and blah blah. I'm like, no, man. What library did you go? How old is that? The source.
The Wikipedia warriors and shit.
Thank you, man. So, you know, some people, I had to shut some people in my classes like that. Like, where'd you get that? And they're like, well, it's right here. I said, never mind. Okay, as I was saying, but that whole thing is that, put it this way, brother, it's gonna be to the point to where, I mean, I'm quite sure it's happening now. All the stuff that people are going by and reading, they're manipulating, they're changing it. So when it's time for you to find the real thing, we were too busy burning our books. We're too busy throwing them away. We think that the books don't have any value, but that's the real stuff. I mean, I never saw the Book of Eli, but they said the Book of Eli was similar to what I'm saying. Based on the stuff that's on paper, that's like documented, that's well, you know, well put together, well scholarly. That's what's going to save your life. The Google stuff, that's what you're going to be stuck with, and you don't have nowhere else to go but Google. So you got to figure out what's the BS and what's the real information.
Yeah, well, you know, I think reading is somewhat of an art form. I mean, because one thing about reading, man, the reading, I always say this, man, and I always told my kids this when they were coming up. You know, reading is like jumping jacks for the brain. You
Yep.
know, I mean, you can always tell if a person reads, you know, by their vocabulary. You know, I mean, reading enhances your vocabulary, it enhances your thinking, you know, it enhances your speech. I mean, it enhances all of that, man. It enhances your mind. I mean, you're not going to get much, you're not going to get much going on in your mind when you can just pull something up on your damn iPhone, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because especially, you know, you got autofill, so as soon as you put in like 3 letters of it, it's already coming up, you
Yep.
know, and now you look at it and they're like, oh, it's right here. I mean, I think that I think this technology, man, has made people kind of lazy.
Lazy. Yep.
Yeah, it's made them lazy, where they don't do as much research. They don't care as much about the information. You know, they just want it right then, right there. I'm a true believer that internet has, I mean, and the internet and media has its place. I mean,
Yep.
make no mistake about that. But I think that it has caused a lot of harm as
Mm-hmm.
well, you know, especially
Especially,
to our young folks.
yep. I'm with you.
Yeah, especially to our young folks, man. You know, because a lot of them they grew up with this. So, you know, they don't know anything else. Shit, a book, what's that? They have no idea what a book is. I say this all the time. A book, man, shit, they touch a book, their damn flesh will start to melt like Dracula touching a crucifix. And they touch that book, boy, touch that encyclopedia. All you hear is and you smell burning flesh. You know?
Yeah. I'm trying to crack that code, man. I'm really trying to crack it. I know there's a combo there. Somebody even allude to the fact that we may have to go back into pictures and images. And at
Yeah.
first I thought about it like, dang, I mean, we're gonna have to go back to what do you call it? What's that thing where you pull the string and it says cow moo? What was it?
I know. The speaking spell. The
Yeah,
speaking
exactly.
spell.
We might have to go back to that in the
Yeah,
classroom in
man.
high school, man.
Yeah, man. A is
So
for apple. You know, B is for boy. Yeah, you might have to get that joint, the old speaking spell.
Man, I feel bad, but I'm like, it might be, and you gotta think about it too, man. That's part of the hieroglyphic system. You know, they did images, and the what's his name? C. Freeman L. I give him the credit for saying this, and I've researched it, and other institutions said it too. But he said your subconscious only sees things in symbols, not letters,
Mm.
not words, but in symbols. So I thought about the whole thing about, and we still on the art subject, by the way, so I'm not getting away from it. But I thought about the whole thing about the electric magnetic waves, low electric magnetic waves.
Hmm.
But electric is masculine, magnetic is feminine, which is pretty much in everybody. But the thing is how you control it and what are the balancings. So, like for example, I have, when I have students in my class, and if I just said, you guys need to just create something out of their mind, guess what they're going to do before they create? What
What's
do you
that?
think? What do you think they're going to do before they create?
Before they create,
When I
I
say
don't.
when I say I want you guys to create something for your mind, and I'll sit back and wait for the time to be done. So before they even put a pen on a paintbrush or a pen on a piece of paper, what do you think they're going to do to create?
Shit, they might look at their iPhone first.
Exactly. You got it. You got it.
Look
That
at
is
their
the going
iPhone.
thing. You got it. And the reason why is because it's considered it gives you low electromagnetic frequencies. So therefore, if it's low, whatever your mind perceives, you've been programmed. It's not natural. That's why it's low. So therefore, you have to depend on it in order for you to get the ideal. That's why people are called to it, to where they have to generate it and open it up and start searching. They're throwing names in there, apple or a dog or something like that. But some people would say, okay, if that's low, what is the high? The high electric magnetic waves is when you look in the sky and you see the sun beaming across your face, or if you see the wind blowing the trees side to side, if you see a line of ants walking, you see a couple holding hands. And the thing is, it's not that you're trying to draw it; it's stimulating your mind to make you come up with something that's never been done. That's within you. That's how you generate high electromagnetic waves. And I don't care if it's art. I don't care if it's you're doing the machinery and stuff like that. Even in machinery, you still got to come up with something that nobody's have ever done in order to be recognized, or even how whatever ideal you would do the machinery. People just think that you can just come up, you can just cut. How can I say? You just look at a picture, and then you get all that notoriety. You get the notoriety most of the time when you're able to come up from something from nothing.
Oh, absolutely. I believe anything that you master, if you master it, it's sort of your art. If it's your craft, it is an art because you mastered it and you're better at it than most people. So I don't care what it is, and I'm talking to all of y'all out there. I mean, if you master something, that is art. That is your art. You become a master in that. So that is your art.
And so, if people are giving me a shout out, I'm sorry, but I can't really look at the chat. So, if whoever's out there that's giving shout outs, then it's all good. You my peoples. But yeah, that's the thing that I've been really pushing, is that you got to start, and this, you don't have to walk around with sandals, eating grape nuts and talking metaphors. This,
Yeah.
nature is us. This is what we are, but we just don't tap into it. Hell, sometimes I do go outside and draw a little bit. Sometimes I do go outside and paint. Unfortunately, you know who keeps bugging me about it? The white folks out there. But at the same time, when they start offering money, money's green.
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's the things I really try to encourage people to tap in the powers that are within you. And this has nothing to do with no Star Wars or superhero stuff. But there's a lot of things that we have as a people that we tap into. We're always trying to get into somebody else's stuff. Let's just keep it real. Some things that we are doing, it is not our lane, but we're trying to force it. If it ain't working for you, I mean, sometimes get the message, find something else, do something else. Or I wouldn't even say, like, if it's not working for you, I wouldn't say get rid of it. I would just say add something else to your repertoire and then come back to it that you're doing before, because maybe just not that time for you to do what do what you feel that's your dream.
Agreed. Agreed. Man, this hour went by so quick, brother Art. I got brother Nagone on deck.
Yeah, that's
Man,
my Pat Hill brother. He's a good man.
you done sat up here and made 2 pictures in this time, effortlessly, like it was nothing. I appreciate you coming through, though, brother. I don't know if you want to stick around and finish sketching, or I don't know what you.
I mean, I could be the fly on the wall if you want. It's up to, because Nagone is next.
Yep.
If you want me to, it's all
Yeah,
good.
if you want us to go ahead, stick around, man, because I got Nagone coming up, and then at 11:30 I got Mr. Research. So.
Oh yeah, I know those brothers on the YouTube sector pretty well, so I'm all for them. Those are my brothers.
Yeah, my goal is to interview everybody on YouTube, so I'll never run out of people.
Hey,
I do it. I do three a week. I'll never run out of people. But yeah, I appreciate you, brother. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Y'all better be looking out for that, because like I said, old X gonna be a character in this animated series. Look out for that. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. All right.
Thank you, brother X. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, man. Goddamn, man, you're a magnificent artist, man. And but see, I've seen your work even before tonight, so I kind of got the upper hand on people because I've been to your site and all that kind of stuff. So I already knew this. What y'all are seeing now, I already knew he knew how to do all this kind of stuff. So just to let y'all know, full disclosure, I've seen his work already. So yeah, absolutely. So let us get on. While y'all sit there and enjoy the artistic stylings of my man, brother Art, let's get on with the second.
Hours of power. 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 Hours of power.
Up next, my man Nagone. Peace, Nagone. What's good, man?
What's good, baby? How you doing, man?
Cool, man. The other night, man, when we was on the phone, we was talking. The phone just died. I was like, damn, I hope brother Nagone don't think I hung up on him and shit.
No. Never would I think that. I know that, the phone can shut down on a brother. So
yeah.
I know how that works. Let me say this. Brother Art over there, man. Brother Art, I don't know if you're listening, man, but boy, that is extraordinary work. I'm just
Absolutely.
looking at that. I'm looking at those strokes, and it's kind of like magic how you have an empty page, and next thing you know, you're using some different paints and the skill
well, you missed him sketching. He came right on sketching. He just like sat up there with a pencil and sketched like a picture of Malcolm X, and then just went on to something else.
Fabulous.
Obrigado, irmão. Eu faço isso em Copacabana para meus alunos.
Se o alunos, você tem alunos lá. Muito bem.
Obrigado.
Tá bom. Ok, eu gostaria de falar mais, mas a maioria das gente aqui não fala nada, entendeu?
Sim, entendeu.
Prefiro de falar inglês agora, tá bom?
Sim, agora.
Eu falarei com você depois.
Sim.
Sobre isso, tá?
Mas logo, muito logo.
Isso, tá. All right, man. Yeah, man. We just pop a little Portuguese.
I know it was Portuguese, man. I speak Spanish. I know it's Portuguese.
Yeah. Habla español también.
This how brothers do it.
I know it's Portuguese.
Yeah, man. But our throwing down, that's the roof, man. It's awesome. Anyhow, great work, man. Great work.
Thank you.
Ótimo.
Obrigado.
Beleza.
Obrigado, irmão.
Tá.
Muito obrigado.
Sim. Okay.
Well, let me let me get on. Let me get on into you, brother Nagone.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question that I often ask brothers on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. What brought you to YouTube?
I was kind of, on YouTube and just kind of being around, commenting around for years. I mean, I started, I would say back in 2009. I just started kind of getting on. I just, I was working in my office. I saw YouTube up there and I just started seeing some videos. So I started commenting on some of the political stuff that I would see, and it was more actually in the white sector. I didn't really see the black sector until a little bit later, um, as I kind of ran into brothers like, uh, the Thugtician. I would even say Sergeant Willie Pete. And then very early on, started seeing these brothers, kind of, talking about certain issues, uh, black male issues, I would say. But primarily, what really kind of brought me to YouTube was kind of like politics, just looking at, the political environment, especially after Obama getting elected, and just looking at all the news that was going on. And then, I would say YouTube was a pretty good medium as well, from outside of just regular television. And you would get a lot of different reports. I would look at a lot of different news channels and agencies. That's where I started getting involved with the Guardian and so forth. Kind of a little of the news that was a little not so much mainstream, and taking a look at a lot of that stuff, and then definitely commenting and dealing with a lot of the political commenters that were going on. And then I kind of happened on the black sector, like I said, and I came upon brothers like Thugtician. As I said, he was talking about black male issues and kind of the whole scene with what was going on with black men. I thought that was a rather interesting dialogue. So I just listened very closely to a lot of what these brothers were saying, and I've been kind of following it really, really kind of ever since, and seen it go through a few different iterations to kind of where we are now. I'm sorry. I just had somebody who was trying to call me, and I just said, I just had to hang up on. But yeah, I saw some different iterations come through, and it was different.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I don't know.
God damn it!
They
You
got
just
us.
muted yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to get rid of a call. I got somebody bothering me here. But anyway, as I said, with looking at kind of black YouTube, the black sector, he started to get into what some of black males' issues were, and I found it kind of interesting from the standpoint that you didn't really hear of black males' issues previously, on anything. Really not too much. You might look at some of the regular television programs that were there, or you might see something like a Tony Brown's Journal, or let's see, Gil Noble or something else like that. But didn't really get too much into, got into the black community, but it didn't really talk a lot about black males' issues. So I think it was kind of interesting to come to YouTube to ultimately hear black men kind of talking about black men's issues and kind of what was going on with us, and this whole gender thing and all that. It was it's kind of interesting to get involved in. So that's kind of what really attracted me. That was some years ago, and then things have kind of really evolved a lot from there. It's been a rather interesting type of journey, just seeing what's been going on with this medium. It's been real interesting.
Well, do you think that has YouTube, as far as brothers are concerned, has it been a help or a hindrance or a combination of both?
I think like with everything, it's been a mix of both. I think it's definitely been a help in the sense that you actually have brothers really kind of kind of talking together. So there are a lot of good things that I've seen, and I was just kind of on, let's say, another channel where there was some black business people talking, and really trying to get some black business together, and really talking about formulating some very what I would say kind of critical relationships, to really help business, help black men talk more about business and power and wealth and so forth. Very important things, I think, we've been doing. That's very good there. I've seen definitely some very good stuff on the how would I say, on the relationship side. We've we've had a chance to kind of express how we see the side of the fence now. We've had an opportunity to do that. I know before we didn't really get a chance to really ever speak about what our side of the fence really was. I think that the media didn't really cover it that well. We didn't really have a voice. So I think now you have more of that. Has there been some negatives? Yeah, they certainly had some of the infighting going on, and some of the absolute idiocy that I've seen has been, rather disturbing at times. But I guess maybe some of that is to be expected. I think we're seeing a little bit less of it now, but it was going on there for a period where it was just crazy. People acting a fool, grown men. So I couldn't. A lot of what I saw, I didn't respect it, but other brothers have certainly handled themselves in very respectful ways. I thought that has kind of kept this thing moving in the right direction. So I'm glad to see some of what's going on now, as opposed to what I was kind of seeing in a little ways back. But at the same time, I guess, like I said, some of it's to be expected. So, that's all I'll say about that. But I think there's been some bad, but then I think there's been some good as well. A lot of it.
So, well, tell me this: what would you like to see more of on YouTube? What would you like to see more of?
I would like to see certainly brothers talk more about, really helping to develop ourselves a lot, really developing ourselves a lot. I do see that, we do talk this relationship piece, and I know we spend a lot of time on talking about the women and all that, and all these various issues. And yeah, I think all that is important. One of the things I would really like to see a lot more was just really talking about really developing ourselves and really on what's important for the development of ourselves. And black men, I think if we're going to talk about the manosphere, if you will, if we're going to talk more on the black side of YouTube, we should be looking at men developing themselves as well. It's very important that we do that. If we want to talk about a community, you want to talk about, unity and all this, you have to really develop yourself. You have to be developed. And that's something that I would like. I know we talk a lot about it, but I think we need to really push more in that regard. Certainly talking about things that are certainly going to advance us. Business, health, just like you have art, even art, all these other things that go on to help to build the mind, as well as other things to help to build the body as well, build your health, build your business, help to build your community, help to even talk more about building healthy relationships, of which is a very difficult thing at this stage in our community. And I would say, the society in itself is pushing some rather negative agendas. But facing with all that, we really have to really develop ourselves in the face of this. And I think that's a way how to combat some of what's going on. So I would like to see more of us talking about self-development. And that is a part of community development. All that is related. And I believe when you do that, you'll also start to solve even some of these relationship issues that are complex, that have a lot of issues to them. The family and so forth, it encompasses a lot. So I don't want to put it as a catch-all for everything, but I tend to believe that. But yet, I would like to see a lot more development programs. Let's talk more about our development, really developing in a positive way.
Well, do you think that we're going to get there? Do you see it? Do you see it getting there as far as media is concerned, and in real life? Because we can talk about shit on YouTube all day long, but if we're not doing it on the ground, it means nothing. So, do you see it really happening on YouTube and in real life?
I see it. I see it happening in some ways. I certainly do. I see more black men. I see a lot of us working. I see a lot of brothers. Doing some rather positive things in the community as well. Not just with tutorial programs, but building businesses and so forth. One of our biggest issues, I do think that we do have in a lot of this is also capitalization, being able to really develop capital and build more of a media, build more of a business to where we can really begin to express ourselves even at a greater level. Because I think we have a lot to offer. And one thing I do see on YouTube with a lot of brothers, I see got a lot of talented brothers in the manosphere, a lot of intelligent brothers, a lot of brothers who are looking to do, great things. People doing stuff with image, people doing stuff with health, people doing stuff with business, and so on, relationships, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of good things that I see going on. I do see some good things in the community as well, but is it enough? I don't think that. I certainly don't think that it is. Are we somewhat of our worst enemy at times? We are. And I certainly would like to see us. That's why I talk about really developing ourselves and getting, our minds right. Because I think that's a very important thing in this, really having the proper thought process. But to be more specific about your question, I do think that I am seeing more improvements. I do think that we are doing it, but we still got quite a ways to go. So I'm somewhat hopeful. I know there's some who are very negative. I happen not to be as negative because I do see some very good things, especially with some of the tutorial programs I've been involved with. Looking at young kids coming up, I see some young Black teachers, men and women, working with the youth and doing some fantastic stuff with some of these education programs we do have in some of our specialized schools that we're developing. But yet we need a lot more of it. It certainly is not enterprise wide, and we need a lot of other things to really help our community out more and help Black people more. And it starts one person at a time. Yeah. But yet I do believe that we are doing definitely some good. Can we do a lot more? I believe we can. I think we're waking up a little bit in some respects politically. We're understanding that we have to be more involved, and do more business, build businesses and stuff. That consciousness out there it's out there. It's being pushed. So that's something that I do see out there, not only just on YouTube, but out here in the streets somewhat as well, in the community. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think there's because I know some brothers personally that are doing some great things out there. Just like I know it's some people out there who talk a lot and ain't doing a damn thing. Yeah. But I do know some brothers that are doing some really, really good things out there, man, and they're commendable, very commendable things, and they should be mentioned. So let me ask you, man, who is NAGONE? Like, who are you, man? What is your life like? Like, who is NAGONE? Who is he?
Well, I've had a multi-varied guy. I grew up, originally, my family was in, my parents, they were over there in Queens on Dunlop Avenue over there, in kind of, I don't know if it's Cambria Heights now or, but there in Queens, certainly Dunlop Avenue there. And then my parents moved out to Westchester County, and there, I kind of grew up, went to school and definitely had a good education, learned a great deal. But I would say, growing up in a very white area too, kind of shaped a lot of ways of how I think, and some of it was awesome, very good. Some negatives as well, because as NAGONE started to grow up, and my name was Carl anyway, and as Carl started to really grow up and started to see what what life was kind of all about, I did have, a very interesting education, living in a very white area, growing up around a lot of white people, and people say that's the best way, it's great. Yeah, there was a lot of good, but I saw a lot of negatives. I saw some things that we had to deal with. You had some people at times trying to burn crosses on your lawn and do some of this, and dealing with some conflicts on a kind of a racialized level that I had to deal with, as a young person, dealing with some kind of crazy things that maybe I would have encountered some other things in it if I grew up in an all Black community, but But growing up in the white community, there was some challenges, which I think shaped a lot of ways of how I think today. Certainly, I would have to say, you know, my father being a general insurance broker and then a real estate broker. He had his own real estate. He had his own real estate, kind of development company, and he also had a general insurance company where he actually was a small Allstate, where he was able to underwrite almost anything. And he had his office in Harlem, and then I used to go back and forth there a lot. So I had that black side of the experience as well, going back and forth to Harlem on 145th Street between 7th and 8th Avenues, and kind of growing up there as well, just going back and forth for years with my dad and seeing, the black side of things, of which, to be quite frank with you, I liked a great deal because the community was very, it was a community then, I would say that was certainly the case, where people were around and everybody knew everyone in each block. And, you had a real community. If you were down the street and you were getting in trouble down the street, Miss Jones could button, Lord, make sure your dad or mom didn't hear about it, because if that happened, it wasn't like, go sue Miss Jones. No, you were gonna get slapped up because Miss Jones had to get up in you. So the community was very much that way in the late '60s, and definitely in the early '70s. So you did have that. So that shaped my views as well. Definitely I would say it was very Afrocentric, but there was some real terrible things that started to come in. The drugs started to come in in the late '60s and so forth. As we started to see in early '70s, then that started to really hit. But both of those communities, the Harlem community, the white community, they kind of shaped my view, gave me somewhat of a balance. So that gave me an idea of kind of how things worked on both sides of the fence. And I understood also it was pretty important to get an education. So that was key. And then getting an education, going to school, and then kind of coming out and getting involved, getting married very young in my life and having children very young. Um, uh, and then, going to, I was going to grad school looking to I thought I was going to go to medical school, but that didn't really go. And then I decided to move more into the financial industry. And that's how I kind of got into the whole stockbroker thing and all that. But to really speak definitely more to who I am, I would have to say, I'm an individual who has, I think, seen a lot, have experienced a great deal, try to take a balanced look at what life is. I try to look at both sides of the fence somewhat equally, though it's difficult at times. Being able to juggle juxtaposing ideas in your mind simultaneously, but yet dealing with them equally is something I think I've been able to do quite well. But at the same time, be compassionate for your folks, be critical of myself as well as being critical of other things that I see, um, and kind of really move on from there. Raised the family, got married, I was married for 22 years, and it was a contentious relationship. It was, and I kind of don't really blame a lot of that on just the woman herself, definitely on myself. I think I was a bit immature to be getting married at the time. And there are things that are involved in marriage that come up that can be somewhat difficult. And I don't think we were well suited, to be quite frank with you. I think, I just don't think we were. So that kind of didn't go. And that's also kind of shaped somewhat of my views of life as I've moved on, um, and looked at some different things in life. Looked at some different things as far as your kids growing up and other types of relationships and seeing how we all relate. And I have kind of a different view, not so much a negative one, but one I think that's a very realistic one also, as far as how we should how we should deal out here. But hopefully that answers somewhat of your questions. Being involved in business all my life and starting my own business, my own company, and was involved in that since 2005, and the ups and downs with that, and just all the different changes and ups and downs, and fast slows and highs and lows is just a natural part of the vicissitudes of life. So I think that's all shaped a lot of where I am right now and how I see things. So hopefully I see things from more of a nuanced kind of experience level. And I think when I do speak to people, I at least try to bring that out. And sometimes I fail at it, but that's what I attempt to do. But anyway, that gives you just a little idea of who I am. And hey, I'm still developing, still evolving. Let's put it like that.
So coming up, were you the quote unquote educated lame, as they as they term it now? Were you the educated lame coming up as a young guy?
I don't think so. The only reason why is because I was very much an athlete. So football, baseball, basketball, that always played a big role in my life. So sports, my father was also a coach. So, he coached us in the little league and everything else like that. So, and he believed that athletics really kind of, helped, especially a young man, helped you to develop. Not only did he put, strong academic, heat on us, but we kind of had to play sports. He thought that was a very important part of a young boy's, or even moving up into manhood's kind of experience. So I was always a good athlete, football player more specifically. And my old man, he was a great football player. He went to Howard University and all that, so he played football there. So football was my game, and he always thought football was a game of life. So you take hard knocks, be able to get up and put it, ever hit back, and and just keep going, and don't have kind of that non-quitting spirit. That's what he kind of believed in. So I was an athlete. So as an athlete, and being fairly good at what I was doing, I had some popularity. So I can't say, so I was educated, I was around some of the nerdy kids, but I was kind of a tough kid as well. You kind of had to come up kind of tough, especially around those white kids. I grew up around a lot of Italians, and a lot of Italians and Jews and Irish and so forth. And some of those kids were kind of rough. Some of them were rather hateful. So then playing sports with them, you had to be very competitive. So it came kind of hard. It came kind of hard, but I was pretty popular. So I didn't really. I can't say I was a lame. I can't say that. I was a pretty popular guy, and it was all about competition. So that competitive spirit, literally from the first year I played Little League baseball, from the time I was about 8 years old all the way up to college. That's kind of how we rolled. So no, I can't say I was a lame. Maybe there were those who might say that they were, but say that I was, but I didn't think so. And I got a lot of attention from girls and stuff. So I was doing all right.
Well, I know now you're a red pill brother now, right?
Yeah, I would say
Straight
so.
red pill. So, won't you explain a little bit of the red pill philosophy to the folks who may not know what it is?
All right. Well, I would say red pill is really just really looking at things for what it really is, as opposed to how we might want to see things. It's kind of almost taking the rose-colored glasses off, and looking at things for how they are. And you could look at things from red pill to women. You could look at things from red pill to business. You could look at things from red pill to politics. Red pill is just looking at things, really breaking it all down. It's really just taking the blinders off, waking up, and looking at things for how it really is. And you just don't get that way by just coming to that conclusion. A lot of times it's through experience in life, through study, um, consequential knowledge as well. Can bring you to that. Some people who consider themselves to be red pill may be raging and angry about some of the things that they see, but I don't really consider that so much red pill. That's red pill rage, and you're raging meaning that you still are just angry, man, about maybe what you were, or maybe how things are, and and you're mad about that, and you haven't really gotten to the other side of the red pill, of accepting what you've seen, embracing it, and in some ways trying to grow from that. Certainly, my life, I've definitely have come through some things that have let me see that as well. Just not the divorce, the death of my sister, and so forth. A lot of things brought me to some real harsh realities out here that make you see things in some ways that you might not have seen before. And and as long as you know it's not being used to help to destroy you, but yet it can help to build you. But yet it's a protective mechanism. It's also something that keeps your eyes open. It keeps you I guess the term is woke, or keeps you woke out here. So you're not slipping, so you're not asleep. And that's in business as well as relationships, and even politics, looking at things politically. In a very red pill way, I think keeps you apprised and on your feet about what's going on out here. Yep.
So should we be applying the red pill philosophy to, our politics, how we go about, starting a business, having a job, just how we deal with people? Should all of that be red pill, in your opinion?
I think so. Yes. For me, yes. Absolutely. 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 Because it's easy to sit down and say, well, okay, like you might have a friend or a family member, as we all know, just a little example. Yeah, well, I'm going to go in business with them, and I'm going to do this, and they're going to help. And you find those are some of the first people to screw you. So those are the first people to take money from you, not pay it. Just all kind of effery goes on behind that kind of thing. Being red pill about that is probably not the best move. Let's really look at what this is really all about. Some of your best business partners you have are people you don't know well. When I say you don't know well, I mean you're not super close friends with them. You're friendly with them, but you know it's a business relationship. It's a business. You guys are both in business, and he's been successful. You've had success in business, and it's based on that. That tends to be a better type of relationship than being in business with your or girlfriends and these kind of things. That can be really tough. It's very important. Really looking at people, they just might try to take it. They just might do some things that may not work in your interest because of that close relationship. You have to be careful of that. You have to watch that. That I would consider to be more of a red. Now, they certainly are aware of that and the knowledge of it. They may not know what the red pill is. That would be considered somewhat red pill. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. True. I agree. I mean, I've had my lumps and bumps, and been into business things, with quote unquote friends and associates, and also family, and the shit always collapsed. I did better in business when I went about shit on my own. So I totally agree with that shit. I mean, to the fullest. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, but that's more of a red pill view. Looking at things very realistically, and at times, we all can, be swayed by other things, because we're human. But I think being more red pill is definitely an advantage. You and I are a little older in life. We've seen a lot of things, and I certainly wish I was a bit more red pill when I was a little younger. But I had very red pill people around me, like my uncle, one of my uncles, really, my grandfather. These were some red pill guys, but I wasn't really picking up on that vibe then. I was still, a little bit inexperienced, and I thought I had a lot of things figured out that I obviously that I didn't, and so the older I become, even though some of them are not with us anymore today, the more I appreciate what they were trying to show me.
Oh yeah, I mean, because being black men, this is what I've found as black men. Even in coming up, I know you and I are in the same generation, so
Yeah.
I mean, when you're coming up as a black man, especially a young black man, you're taught these particular principles. And a lot of these principles have a tendency to surround women, what you shouldn't do, what you shouldn't say, and what you should let them get away with, and all this kind of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays, those things are dead and gone. I mean, you know, I'm not one to compare men to women per se, but I think that often what happens is all of these standards are applied to men and zero standards are applied to women. And that's where I think the problems are. It's not even so much as a comparison. It's like, okay, if you're going to apply some standards to men, you need to apply some standards to these women too. I mean, they don't just get to live life without having any standards applied to them, you know. And men are just supposed to sit around and deal with the shit. I mean, to me, that's just absurd.
Well, you know, when we look at, you know, our country, we look at how we have traditionally treated women, and women were always, you know, supposed to be, you know, the softer sex, and they were the ones who were supposed to be treated a certain way, and all this. Uh, our society and culture, for a large portion of the time, has given women a pass on almost everything. Let me just say this: many years ago, long before I was born, my great grandfather, my great grandmother tried to kill him, tried to kill him, tried to kill him, and was pretty darn close to doing it. Um, I won't get all into how she tried, but she attempted to kill him, and she almost did. Uh, she was then diagnosed with a condition called melancholy. Melancholy. That's a late 19th century, very early 20th century uh, diagnosis for depression, bipolar kind of behavior, which could, you know, where these women could actually, you know, snap and go crazy. Now, she's still black folks, but still, she was a woman, black woman, of course, but a woman, grandfather, a man, and she was diagnosed with having a sickness, and she kind of got away with it. She got away with it, man. I mean, they put her in a sanatorium for a while, and she came out of there, and she was okay, and all this. Anyway, make a long story short, you know, had the situation been turned around and it was the man who had attempted to take his wife out or whatever, I think he'd have been in the who's gal for quite a bit of time. It gave her a pass. So women have been getting a pass a long time. It's just kind of how our society has been dealing. So women today now are being held accountable. Okay, the society has changed in some respects, and now it's more equal, and it's been equal rights generation, and the women's suffrage movement, and all that through the 20s, and all that moved up and gave women more of an equal place. And we have feminism that has come through, and all the stuff. All the various iterations over the last 70, 75 years of what's really gone on. But now women are supposed to be somewhat equal, as they say they're equal, and they're handling things and they're running stuff. But yet they don't want to be held accountable. Still, they want that. They still want that lack of accountability that they always had. That's a luxury or kind of an asset that they've always had, if you will, that they don't want to give up. So when you try to make them more accountable now, you're still to blame. You're still the issue. So they want to be equal in every respect, but yet they don't want to be equal in accountability. Some women certainly, understand they have to be accountable, but there are a lot who just don't want to be accountable, and that's across the board. I'm not going to just say that's just black women. That's across the board, but black women in particular do not want to be held accountable to a higher standard. They don't want to be held on. They don't want to be held at. They don't want to be held underneath the microscope. That's one of the things that the manosphere has done. And I'm talking about from its earliest iterations to now. Brothers were talking about that. Even back in the day, I remember Thugtician, and then another woman, Blake Barbie Doll. I don't know. Some people might remember who she was. And they would have these going ons back and forth, and Thugtician would just break this stuff down beautifully. And these women would just get angry at him for saying, what was true. They just got mad at him. He was talking about the whole single mother thing. He was talking about that the whole high abortion rates, of which men have participated as well, but yet women definitely are the ones who can make the final decision on what's going on there, and all. And he just went into just a lot of things, and they were angry. He was trying to run him off YouTube because he was talking the truth. We've seen that right up damn near to present day. So no, women don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be. I guess they're the first transmitters of culture, is what some people say, and that since they are the first transmitters of culture, being criticized is something that's going to be very, very, very very distasteful to them. I understand it, but yet you should be held up to some levels of scrutiny. They don't want to deal with that level of scrutiny. They feel they should get a pass, and many still do, and that's where we are with this. In all reality, many still get a lot of passes. They do not want to be held accountable. They don't. We're held accountable. That's certainly the case, but they don't want to be. I'm sure you see that as well.
All the time. Shoot, I see it on here. I see it in real life.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by it. Yeah, you're surrounded by it. So
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I have a niece, and she's in the North Carolina area. She's down near Raleigh. So I have a lot of family in the Raleigh, Durham, and then further up north in the Rocky Mount area and so forth. So we have just a lot of family all throughout North Carolina. My father was from there originally. My father's family. So we were all Tar Heels. My niece, she ended up having a kid at a wedlock, and I was just talking with her, and she was telling me, well, he didn't want to do this. And I was like, listen, I mean, I'm your uncle. I'm not here to come down on you left, right, and center. I don't want to, because I didn't want to get into any big fight with her. I was like, but you knew, you should have been, prepared and have, ready for this kind of situation. You should have, or if you weren't ready for this, then you should have been using protection. Well, he didn't really want to use it, and I was like, all excuses. It was all on him. And my view was like, well, where were you in this? Where were you in this? And just didn't want to deal with it. Doesn't want to deal with that right now. Doesn't want to deal with it. Don't want to hear Uncle Nagone sit down and break it down. She doesn't want to deal with it. So I see that now going on even in some, they're trying to work everything out. But yeah, here she is, not looking out, but yet wants to blame it on a boyfriend or whatever, and wants to blame it on him. I don't know what more to tell you. This is just, I see this going on right now, right here, right now.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you believe that as men, we've kind of contributed to kind of making this environment? Have we contributed to creating this environment where, women think they can just say anything, do anything, and not take any responsibility, culpability, or accountability? Have we played a part in that?
Oh, we've played a major role. We're the ones who've enabled it. The greater society has, and we are no different than the greater part of society who's helped to do it as well. When I say the greater society, those more who are control the institutions and so forth, who just give these women passes all day long. We even see it even in jail sentencing. Same crime, women get less time than men. Explain out with me. But if you want to really talk about our community in particular, absolutely, we definitely play heavily into that. Heavily. I mean, we're walking around calling many black women queens, and all this, and if you're calling a woman a queen, can she do any wrong? I mean, really, can the reina, the queen, can she do any wrong? No, she can't. So I mean, that's and are we willing to call out? No, we're not. So black men are definitely not quick to do that. Not quick to do that at all. And these women know it. They are thoroughly aware of that as well. So yeah. So have we played very heavily into that role? Massively. unfortunately, massively.
Well, that's why I believe that there's so much blowback um, on brothers
Yeah.
when they speak about particular things, because in Black society, and probably in other societies too, we have set the table for these particular women to not only be able to say whatever want they want, but actually make excuses for it and duck the blame, no matter how bad it is, no matter how much of their fault it is, and to set the table so they can say, okay, like you say, you know, we call them queens and all this kind of nonsense. And it's a title that many of them have not earned. I mean, they just haven't. You know, let us be clear. Many of them have not earned that title. So when you have men who kind of perpetuate it, when you got more men perpetuating this same environment as opposed to men who are rubbing up against it, you're going to have these quote unquote fallouts and like the YouTube AdSense apocalypse and that kind of stuff. You're going to have this kind of stuff because not only do you have women who have a problem with the things that you say, you also have brothers who have a problem with the things that you say to these women. So you're not like just going up against, you know, one group of people. You're actually going up against two, because you're going up against brothers, and you're also going up against women as well. So do you believe that is it worth the risk to get on YouTube and talk about the things, you know, that some of the brothers talk about, some of the things I talk about, the things you talk about? Do you think it's worth the risk of, you know, because you already know women are going to be coming at you, but do you think it's worth the risk to have brothers coming at you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, take a risk. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, worth the risk. Because you want to be truthful about things. A lot of these brothers who will be out here, you know, as we say, caping and, well, you know, nah, you know, and they're coming out against you. Let them talk. After a period of time, they too will see the deal. Why? They too will get adversely affected. Because the only thing you have to do is just criticize them once, and all those women who were supposed to be down with you, the minute you make a criticism about some of their bullshit, that you'll see that you will be made to see, the minute you criticize that, then they will turn on you. That's where it will be. So yeah, so definitely go in with these brothers, because at the end of the day, they too will see what's going on. It'll take a little bit more time, but they'll see it, and they won't like it, especially when they get attacked. And then they'll sit back and look back. Brothers like ourselves will sit down and say, "Well, you know, well, man, maybe these guys are right, man, but they won't be able to deny some of this." And so that's important, you know, that we do consistently come out there and at least speak the truth. I don't think you have to call, you know, women these bitches, and, you know, you got to kill them and murder them and all this kind of stuff. You know, that's way out there. But as far as talking about very truthful issues about what's really going on, and expressing it, letting them know, and we have to take our responsibility. We do. We hold brothers accountable, hold them accountable as well. Um, yeah, that has to be put out there. That has to be said. If you're going to try to build a community, or if you're going to try to get relationships right, that's one of the key things you have to get involved with. If you go to a marriage counselor, a relationship counselor, or so forth, and you sit down with them, and a really good one, and there are a few good ones out there, but the really good ones will make each side, each person who's in that relationship, each person, both sides, accountable for their actions. And you'll find a lot of times the women will be fighting hard against that counselor, especially if that counselor says something about them that they don't like, and they'll go hard against it. The man will sit down. Sometimes he will disagree, but then he'll listen. But you see a lot of pushback from a lot of the ladies, because they don't want to deal with the truth. They don't want to deal with some of the issues that they bring up. That's just kind of how they are. That's a big part of female nature. I would like to say, but yet it's very real. But yeah, we have to talk about it. So this has to be brought out. We have to speak honestly about things. If you're gonna solve a problem, you got to talk honestly about it. And both sides have to be honest. And let's say it's not easy. It's not always easy. It's not always easy to take a hard look at yourself. It's not. So I understand that as well. And but yet it's going to come. So deal with it. So do I think it's worth that we deal with it? Yes.
Well, one thing I've discovered. Well, I think this is something that I always knew, but I've gotten a clearer picture of it as I've gotten older. As far as we as black folks are concerned, I mean, we only like mirrors when we dressed up. Okay,
Mm, mm,
when we're not dressed up, we don't like the mirror too much. We avoid it. As long as we dressed up and we dolled up and we looking good, and we love a mirror. But that day that we wake up and head nappy, clothes raggedy, and you got sleep in your eye, you ain't too thrilled with looking in the mirror. Notice how you're in the mirror for a shorter period of time when you're like that, as opposed to when you dressed up and got on your Sunday's best. And I think that these conversations we have are like that mirror. You
mm,
know, People
mm.
don't want to look at that mirror, when they just wake up with sleep in their eye. They want to get dolled up first, and put on all the new shit and put on all the jewelry and the facade, the accoutrements. Then they're ready to be in the mirror. And I think that that's a major thing with us as black folks.
Yes.
Um,
Agreed. It's tough. You listen. I'm not going to say that it's easy. I'm not going to say that it's easy all the time. Well, it's easy to sit back and look in the mirror and critique yourself, or even honestly critique others. It's not that easy. It's not. But so that's a path. That's a door we have to walk through at times. If we're going to make significant changes, we're going to have to deal with that. It's just like in my business. I can realize if I'm sitting down and if money's not coming in the right way and things are not going, I got to look back and say, hold on a second. Am I making enough calls? Am I doing this? What am I not doing? I thought I had this right. This guy didn't take this job because of X, Y, and Z. What did I do wrong? And then I got to sit down. Sometimes I have to look at what I didn't do right. I did miss certain steps in this process. I tried to rush things a little bit. Maybe I didn't handle things properly, and you get mad about it. But then you say, well, I can't. Well, I won't do that again because it cost me XYZ amount of dollars. So you have to be very honest about looking at certain things that you're dealing with. You got to be honest about it, and it's not easy sometimes. It's not easy. Sometimes it just isn't easy, and I understand that. But if we're gonna cross this Rubicon, we're gonna have to pass through certain types of doors, and that's when we're gonna have to pass through them together at times. It's not going to be the easiest, but it's got to be done.
do you think that is do you think that that's a major fear of us as black folks, that we kind of shy away from the things that are kind of difficult? If it's too difficult, or it's not right then and there, instant gratification, that we kind of shy away from it as black folks. Do you think that that's a thing with us,
I think
with
that's the
many of us?
I think that's the thing with many of us. Yes, I definitely think so. It's to have things easy is great, but to work at stuff and really put the hard work in to get what we have to get done at times. Yeah, people shy away from it. Absolutely. So a lot of people do across the board, but black people in particular, yes, I definitely think so. Especially Black Americans, because you have others who are coming over to this country who are black from Africa and other spots where they know they ain't, they had it hell over there. So over here they're like, man, it's I can at least got a shot. So let me push it to the nth degree, and I can make some success. And they're doing some rather remarkable things. But some of that has been lost with some of us here in the local diaspora. And yeah. So I would have to say yes. That's definitely an issue. I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it as well, and many others.
Well, you often say get your body right. We know what that means. You often say get your money right. We know what that means. You also say get your mind right. What do you mean when you say that? When you tell brothers get your mind right? What do you mean when you're saying that?
You see, getting your mind right there is a lot to it. But really, it comes down ultimately to really being able to think straight, see things for really what they are, and really try to move forward, towards, meeting and kind of achieving your goals. And that requires a lot. It requires maturity, requires information, also, it requires, certain level of truth, a certain level of truth, and being truthful with yourself, looking at yourself. You can look at others and particularly you got to look at yourself very, very seriously. You have to look at what some of your issues really are and deal with those issues. Deal with that to get your mind right, really get yourself right in the right position to really move forward to help yourself to help to prevail. And that takes work. A lot of us can sit down and say a lot of things about others, but when it comes to ourselves, it's a different kind of game. So, getting your mind right is really, really self-actualization, really knowing who you are, getting a chance to really know yourself, and being truthful with yourself, which is difficult for some. It's maybe easier for others, but difficult for some. And that's a big path we have to be on. And getting your mind right may actually mean, if you have to see a therapist, if you need help in that, that's fair enough. That's one of the things I've said. I think it's kind of, resonate a little bit through the manosphere. Somewhat, a lot of brothers, they've kind of, they've definitely embraced that because they've seen that that's very important. And brothers who are doing stuff, who are trying to build things, they understand, their mind has to be in a proper place. If you're way out there, if you're not in control of your emotions, if you're out here insane, doing crazy, stupid things, and doing things that are actually working against you, but yet you don't see that they're working against you. You may need to be, that may need to be seen for yourself. That's getting, you have to now see, well, it's not really working for me. This is not really, I'm not getting this right. I'm not doing certain things properly. I've got these issues here or there, and I gotta kind of overcome certain kinds of things. You start to see that's starting to get your mind right, and sometimes you need help, and that's okay. I think that's one of the things, I think the manosphere helps out with, and other brothers who just kind of give some encouraging words, give a good outlook for some people to kind of think about, and that helps them to think positively and think, be a little more forward thinking about what they're about and what they're trying to achieve, and maybe help them set forth a plan to help to achieve that. But getting your mind right is the biggest thing. It's the mental game out here. And at times we get angry. I mean, we had somebody. Remember, we had that young kid on your show a couple of weeks ago, and he was out there talking smack. And got a little...
Oh, you talking about my man, Corey Hayward? Yeah.
Yeah, got a little angry at him because I was like, "Who's this kid, man?" But then again, I sat down and thought about it. We have some youngsters out here, and some of them, they're gonna go wild a little bit. You have to understand it. You have a little patience at times. So sometimes we fall a little bit off our box as well. But you do have to have patience. That's getting your mind right as well. So and understanding how to deal with other people who may not necessarily be vibing with you at that self same time, but being able to deal in that situation and come out of it somewhat positively. That's helping to get your mind right as well. There's a lot of that that we have to do, and that's something that we always have to work on. That's something, get your mind right. That's something we always are working on. And I don't care how sharp you are or how much you're always consistently, sharpening your mind, because there's always challenges out here. So so getting your mind right is key, very important, big, the major piece. But they all work together because if you're helping get your money right, you don't have to be a millionaire or whatever, as long as you're doing putting whatever money you can put together to live the life you want, and your body is an extension of that as well. So if you're working your body and mind and all that together, it all works together, especially the body and the mind. That helps you get your money as well. But you have to those two work in great concert together. So Your mind's right, then you can get your body right. If your mind is not right, you can't ever get your body right. You can't. You can maybe make some money, but how long you hold on to it, and will you handle it right? Will you invest it properly? These kind of things. These kind of things. If your mind is not right, so all that is critical. Mind's got to be right.
Well, let me ask you about us as black men. Do you think there's a cutoff age? Is there an age where you can say, well, if you haven't done X, Y, and Z by this age, you're done off? Do you believe that? Do you believe that, you should have X, Y, Z in this order by XYZ age, or forget about it, it's over?
Nah, man, I think that's crock of shit. Pardon my expression, but I think that's crock of shit. I look at people like what was it, Colonel Sanders or whatever. I think he didn't make it until he didn't become a millionaire or become extremely wealthy until he was 66 or something like that. You have plenty of people who made it in their 60s and so forth. So is there a cutoff age? I think the cutoff age of you not really making, say when it's over, is when they close the lid on that pine on that box and lower you 6 feet south. I think that's when this world is done with you. But as long as you're here standing up on 2 feet and going forward, and you have a reasonable amount of health, reasonable mind working properly, I don't think there's any cutoff time. Opportunities always come up. Things may change, and you may have to shift a little bit with the times. But no, do I think there's a cutoff age? No, I don't. I don't think so. Certainly, if people say, well, if you're 30 years old, you should have X, Y, Z by this time. Well, maybe not. The person may bloom a little bit later. Somebody who say it at 50. Well, I'm 50 years old and I don't have, haven't made $1 million yet. Well, keep pressing. You might get a chance to make that if you make some good business decisions. Acclimate your mind better. They say your biggest money making years in life, they say, are between the ages 45 and 65. Those are your
Yeah.
biggest. Those are your biggest money making years.
Shit,
I mean,
I didn't figure shit out till I was 40. I didn't
yeah,
I didn't figure shit out till I was 40.
yeah. I mean, and think about it. When you're 40 years old, I mean, when I was 40, I was doing well and all, but I was still in the club. I was still in the club, man, gin and juice, man, hanging out. On Rio Beach, chasing, chasing the thong around or whatever. You still doing that, but as you get older, you start saying, well, maybe I need to put a little more time and effort into looking at here and this and that and some of the other things. So, yeah, so 40, I think, is very young. I think when you start hitting your 50s, your early 50s, mid 50s, that's when I think your head really starts to come together a bit more. That's what I think. I think you're an excellent opportunity. Then, if you haven't made a lot, then you can certainly build and make and have some very productive years during that period, as long as your health is with you. So, I mean, no, I don't think there's any cutoff. I don't think there's any cutoff age. It's great to sit down and say we can make it all when we're young. It's great to say that, but that's not always the case. And learning and becoming skilled at things takes time. So, that's how I look at it. But I say do get the best education as you can. Um, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, if you plan on doing any damn thing in life, you better be educated in something, as
Correct.
opposed to just not educated in anything. If you're not educated in anything, you're destined for failure. I mean, you have to know something, you
Correct.
know. I
Correct.
think I think what often happens to a lot of brothers is they spend their whole lives not inspired, not having ambition, or having interest in anything of any consequence. That's always a mistake. You
I,
need to have interest in something.
I totally agree with that. You definitely have to have an interest. You have to also, you know, have that interest, further sparked. It's one of the things I think I picked up as I was younger, and I see a lot of other guys who kind of come up in life and see things a certain kind of way. You have mentors. It's always good to have mentors. Always good to have people who can kind of show you the ropes. If it's not your dad, then Maybe it's an uncle. If it's not an uncle, maybe it's a somebody who you might meet in business and so forth, who might help to mentor you and give you a lot of good ideas and really help you to grow. Um, it's good to have that because it's you're not gonna have everything on your own at times. It's always you see people who've done some things and have done well. They haven't done all by themselves. People that I'm self-made. Okay, that's great. We agree, but usually it's been a process of a lot of people that they've linked up with to help them really to become that. So and mentors play a big role. Mentors do. So it's always good to have people around that you can talk with, and maybe somebody who's older, smarter,
Mm.
well, I mean, so much even smarter, but more experienced, and can help to open your eyes to the other things. And that's where some of these kids are missing out on. I think they're running around and it hasn't been as easy for them, and they want to blame the other generations and the whole generation blaming game and all that, um, which is which I certainly understand. Every generation goes through it, but this younger generation I think is big on it, and some of them have to get past that and really grow and just take the bull by the horns and start to make moves on your own, and you can still build a lot, but have good mentors and maybe respect some of the older ones who've come before you, who've done well, who can give you good advice. For those who can give you good advice, and use it, utilize that. So that's something that I think some of these young people um, could do better with. And I'm not giving them huge criticism because some of these youngsters are doing very well. So
Yes.
you know, that's my
Well,
take on that.
I think we lack. I think oftentimes, man, we lack examples. I mean, a lot of these young folks, man, they don't have examples, man. They don't have, they don't have anyone to watch. They don't have anyone to pattern themselves after.
Mm.
They don't have they don't have anyone to look at and say, well, he did this and he did that. I mean, I often talk about my business, how I built it from nothing. But I was able to do it because I watched my old man do it. I watched, the hard times he went through. I watched how he hired particular people. I watched how he, put money into this thing and maybe not so much money into this thing because see, this thing here he wanted for 5 years. This thing here was only going to be for 5 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
watched that. I watched how he handled his accounts. I watched how he handled his inventory. I watched how he dealt with customers. I watched how he secured new contracts. So I was fortunate. I tell people this all the time. I was very fortunate, man. I was raised by a very responsible man. I was fortunate, and I screwed up a lot. After I left his house, because that shit wasn't tolerated while I was living there. But once I left his house, I had my run-ins with the law, toted guns, shot at people, been shot twice. So all that shit happened after I moved out of my parents' house. But I was able to fall back on the shit that my father taught me. When it came to raising my kids, when it came to, securing employment, all the way up till now, running my own business. I was able to fall back on the things that I saw, even though I had screwed up for a few years and then did a lot of stupid shit. I was able to fall back on the things that I had learned and the things I had watched and the things he told me. And I was able to, be who I am now. So I think what happens often, man, is a lot of these young men just don't have any examples. They don't have anyone to look at. They don't have anyone, to watch or anyone to tell them, hey, young fella, do this like this. Don't do it like that, like I had, and probably like you had. A lot of
Mm.
young fellas just don't have that, man. And those things are important. I think we kind of take them for granted at times. And I think we kind of underestimate how important that really is. But it's important. It's crucial. That's the whole point. can break a young man at many junctures, man. Not every, many times that's the thing that would make the difference in a young man's life, to have that person to watch and mentor this person and give them good advice, and and teach them how to do shit the right way, as opposed to doing things to suit themselves right now. um I was
Totally.
supposed to have Mr. Research on at 11:30. I don't know what happened. I did send him the link, so I guess we're going into uh the second hour of Brother Nagone.
Well,
if you got time, brother.
well,
If you got
I'll give you a little more time because I definitely got to get up early tomorrow, man. So
I don't know what happened to I don't know what the hell happened to Mr. Research. I mean, we did spoke via email.
Mhm.
Maybe he forgot, shit happens, with this YouTube shit.
Yeah, man.
Shit shit does happen.
Shit
But
does happen. But
well,
go ahead.
I'll ask you a few more questions and then I'll let you go.
Go ahead.
Um Now that because your presence on YouTube now, I mean, pretty much everybody knows who you are. Those who don't know, Brother Nagone is, your brother Obsidian's right hand man. You usually do all his moderating, and you keep the you actually become a animal trainer at times over there. You keep the
That's
you know you,
funny.
you keep the zoo in order sometimes over there. Not often, but every now and then, you have to keep the zoo in order, and people know who you are.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that over the course of recent months, that you've gotten some requests, to come here or there. Like myself, I hit you up pretty often and be like, "Yo, Brother Nagone, come on."
Certainly.
So let me ask you this, because I've
Hmm.
asked other brothers this on the Hours of Power.
Hmm.
Is there Are there any platforms that you won't go on, that they write you and they'll say, "Hey, come on," and you're like, "Nah, I'm good."
You know, I mean, I did get an invite from one of these ladies platforms to kind of sit on, and I'm not I'm not really all that. I'm more kind of in the manosphere type of deal, so I kind of want to deal with the brothers. Not that I got anything against the sisters per se, but I have some views about certain things that I'll just keep quiet on right now. But as far as platforms. No, I'll pretty much go on most, but there's certain platforms I would avoid. Some, and I think I've mentioned what I would. Some of these systems I just wouldn't go on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, well, you can't go on everybody's shit anyway. Not everybody's.
Nope.
Some people you have to give them the big old NO. You can't. Yeah, you can go on everybody's thing. That's probably what people are saying. When I invite them, the people that don't show up, I'm not going on X's shit. I'm not going on X's shit. Um, I
but
know
yeah.
that. Go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No. I've always kind of liked the stuff that you've done. So I was always cool with you. And I never felt any bad feelings or any animos, or I didn't think that you didn't handle certain things right. I mean, we all have evolved. I think to a certain level on this YouTube. I've seen people be one way, and then they've evolved. So I think there's a process of evolution that's going on here. So I like seeing that as well.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I know, man. We had talked because full disclosure, y'all, I was actually in New York City. I took off Sunday night, went to because I usually tell people when I'm going to New York, I'll be like, I'm going to New York. If y'all out there, holla at me. But I actually went. I went to New York Sunday, y'all. Right? I left. I was out there, Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, but I didn't do too much of anything. I got there. I actually wasn't in it deep in the heart of the city, y'all. I was actually in Flushing, Queens. That's where I was at over there. And the next day, I had to actually get up early and do a lot of running around, take care of a lot of official business, go here, there, here, there, here, there, here, there. And that lasted all damn day, all the way up until the nighttime. So I didn't really get a chance to like hang or go see anybody or nothing like that, because the next morning, which was yesterday, I literally came back that morning. And like I said, I was out there one day, and it was just all business. I mean, there was no hanging, no chilling, no hollering at nobody, nothing. So, I mean, that's what happened. But I had spoke to Nagone that night when I got back, and I was telling him, that I was in New York, because I had told him, even though I know he wasn't going to be able to get up, I had gave him my word as a man that the next time I was in New York, I was going to holler at him. So, y'all heard me talking about calling him before. That's what it was. I had to hit him up and say, yo, I'm in New York, but I ain't trying to come see your ass because I'm leaving in like 5 hours.
That's funny.
So that's basically, yeah. And let me tell you something, man. I got home yesterday. You want to hear some crazy shit? I got home yesterday after driving like 9 hours, right? 9.5 hours of driving. I got home, man, and before I could even get in my damn driveway, I got a goddamn phone call, and I had to go on a mobile call, and I had to go right then and there. And I mean, I wanted to, I just wanted to come home and like kind of relax, have a beer. That's kind of what I do after I drove 9-10 hours. I just want to relax and chill out. And I couldn't do that, man. Before I even got my driveway mobile call, I had to jump up, okay, put on my working togs and take off and go to a damn job site, man. And I had just got back. I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me, man. And I told him, I was like, yo, man, I just got back from New York. Can I come tomorrow? They're like, oh no, it's gotta be tonight. So it's crazy, y'all. It's just crazy, y'all. Just one of those days. But yeah. Can't complain about it because this is the life that I chose. So, it was just one of,
Well,
yesterday was a rough day for a brother, boy.
I was definitely glad to hear from you. And like I said, next time you come on up, let's get together.
Yeah, man.
It's
Because usually when I come to New York, I try to holler at my peeps. I usually go check out my man Q Butter. I go up to Zayek's Institute, I check him out. I do all, I do all of that, when I'm out there. Because, me and Q Butter, we like people. So, I check him out, I go to his crib, we go, holler at him in the studio and all that kind of stuff, be there, bullshit around for a while. So next time I come up there, and I'll probably be back up there. As a matter of fact, I'll probably be back up there in January. So, I'm gonna try to holler at everybody. I'm probably gonna stay like a week this time. So, this time was strictly business, y'all. But next time, be a little pleasure thrown in there somewhere.
There you go. Well, it's great. Well, come up to New York is cool. And like I said, I'm down. I'm down in the NC area every now and again. I'm going down there a little bit. My one of my uncles is having a a memorial done for him. Well, not a memorial, but he was a principal in the school system, and an assistant superintendent of schools, and they're giving him like a special kind of award and all that. This is North Carolina. This is shortly after the whole integration thing, and he stepped up, my father's brother, and they were all in education. They were all educators. So, we'll be down there, in the early part of next year. So, we get a chance, in January. So, if I'm around, well, and I'm close to your area, maybe I can get a chance to link up with you down there as well.
Yeah, man. Hit me up, man.
Yeah.
I'm right in the QC. That's where I am. That's where you find OX at. When you hit me up, though, I'll probably be damn working, because I'm deep in my season. My seasons usually come to pretty much a halt around this time, but I'm still going. I mean, I'm still chugging along, man. And I'm surprised. I did really, really good this year, man. I'm doing really good. I don't have nothing to complain about, man, because my season usually comes to pretty much a halt during these months, because I'm also an equipment dealer. I deal a lot of equipment on consignment. People bring me a piece of equipment and they say, well, my bottom line price is $2,000. I bring it into my shop and I may sell it for $3,000. I may sell it for $4,000. You know, they don't care what I sell it for. As long as I give them $2,000, they don't care. So that's what I'm usually doing in the colder months. But now, I mean, I'm doing that, and I'm still doing calls. I still have crap in the shop. You know, I mean, told you, as soon as I got back yesterday, I mean, I wasn't even in my damn driveway. My phone was ringing, and they was like, "Oh, you gotta come tonight, X." I'm like, "Oh God, no!"
You got the cracking. You get the cracking.
I was trying to push that shit till today like crazy because I just want to come lay down, but you know, it's contract work, so you got to go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, brother Nagone, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. I do.
It's great pleasure. Great pleasure.
Yeah, man. This was good. I don't know what the hell happened to Mr. Research, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and end this one at midnight. Maybe I'll get him up here. Maybe I'll get him up here for y'all next week. Because like I said, him and we did talk. So I don't know what the hell happened to him. We did speak, so maybe he just got caught up. I like giving brothers the benefit of the doubt.
He might be working now. I know he works kind of late at times too, so he might be at work. He might be tied up on something like that, you know.
Yeah. Always give brothers the benefit of the doubt, you know, because I'm a working man and I know I show up to shit late. You know, you be doing shit goes 2 hours longer than it's supposed to. I understand. So, you know, maybe I get him up here for y'all next week. Because next week we're gonna be right back here. Hours of Power, 3 more alpha guests. And tomorrow, y'all know tomorrow is DXL. I got a special guest coming on tomorrow, and I'm not gonna tell y'all who it is because I'm working on the promo right now. So you're gonna have to watch the promo to know who the guest is. And I think y'all gonna like this guest. This is gonna be a special DXL because the guest I have on tomorrow is going the first of their type of guests to be on DXL. Hopefully I'm not giving too much away by telling y'all that, but when y'all see this guest, y'all gonna be like, damn, he's gonna have that person on there. And that's right, they will be right here 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, DXL on the T.P.O.T. YouTube page. So you better stay up a little late because the promo is going to be coming out probably in another half an hour. I'm still kind of working on it. I've been working on it off and on all day. So I'm still kind of working on it. I just need to put it together. So just go ahead and watch the promo later on tonight. Y'all know who the special guest is going to be tomorrow right here on the old T.P.O.T. YouTube page. Once again, I like to thank my most distinguished guest, Art, my man, brother Nagone, out there in NY, who I'm gonna get up with next month when I go out there. I mean, I hope y'all enjoyed this. And I mean, brother Art was up here, and when he was up here, he was just drawing while I was interviewing him. I mean, he drew Malcolm X, and then he turned around and just did another quick painting of somebody else. I mean, art is just ridiculous, man. That's
a talented brother right there.
Art is
a talent. That's wonderful.
He
wonderful
is
talent.
something else, man. I mean, so you're probably gonna have to go ahead and rewind. You know, go ahead and rewind it back, man, and see what this brother did, man. I mean, while we was just talking, and I was asking questions and everything, and he was just a sketching, just a painting, like nothing. Yeah, like nothing.
That's a talented brother right there. So so that's pretty awesome. But I have to say, really, brother X, you know, much love to you. Much love to the chat. All you brothers out there, Simply D, Lando, Black Ram.
Black Ram 313. That's my dude.
Oh, he no joke. But all these brothers alive. So it's great seeing y'all out there. Thanks for supporting. And brother X, let's do this again, man. And you know,
absolutely, man.
Always in support of you. So
come through tomorrow. I think you're going to be interested in tomorrow's guest, man.
Count on it. You can count
Come
on
through tomorrow. I'll send you the link. You know that.
my brother. I'll be
All
ready.
right. Peace, brother.
Okay.
Thanks for
Peace out.
coming through.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Good night.
Also, I want to thank y'all for coming through. I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank my moderators, always doing what they got to do. Now, I want to be able to thank you after you do this here. Get on down to Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. That's Prophet of Thought, one word, series, another word, on Facebook. That's the main page. It's a community page. Get on down there, like the page, follow the page, excuse me. Like the page, share the page, follow the page. Like I said, that's our main page. It's community page, so you can always jump on there and find out what we got going on. You can also catch up with what we're doing here on the old YouTube page as well. You can also leave me a message there. I always hit you back within 24 hours. You know that. Also, get on down to the T.P.O.T bandwagon page on Facebook. That's right, the T.P.O.T bandwagon page. That is actually a personal page. You can actually send that page a friend's request, and I will make sure that that request gets confirmed quickly. Trust me. And while you're down there doing that, make sure you stop by the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. That's the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page on Facebook. Go ahead, like that page, follow the page. Go ahead, try to sign up to be a member. Don't worry, you'll get accepted quick. If you have any problems getting into the group, just drop me a line and I'll make sure you get up in there. Don't worry about it. There's always some good stuff going on down there. And like I said, it's a fan group page, so you ain't just got to listen to old X down there talk all the time. You got other people down there post talking as well. So get on down there and become a fan. Become a fan and become part of the group of the Prophet of Thought series, if you don't mind. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's Prophet of Thought on Instagram. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram. You guaranteed to get a follow back. And here we go again. Here we go again. Get on down there to old Twitter. The handle is at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. Go ahead, follow us on Twitter, or I will haunt you in your dreams till next summer. So once again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I want to thank you for watching and spending some time with us. And also, once again, I want to thank my most distinguished guest and brother NAGONE for coming through and spending some time with us as well. Make sure you're here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, because tomorrow is DXL night, and y'all know those DXL nights get kind of crazy. So I got a special surprise guest for y'all tomorrow night, but you're going to have to stay up late to see who it is. I might even do a premiere promo. I don't know, but make sure you're here tomorrow. We got a good show lined up for y'all, so I will see you then. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do, open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all. The Prophet of Thought. Peace, folks. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. The prophet of thought. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. The prophet of thought. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
Only from T.P.O.T.